Hello guys and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Julie. Hello, hi, how are you? So it is that time of the year again. It is October 1st, which means that I do have a little September wrap up for you. So first of all, I'm very sorry for the lighting. It is natural lighting and the weather here in Paris is kind of wild. Like, there you go, it's very sunny, and then the moment right after it's really dark, and I'm very sorry for that. I might try. I don't even feel like lighting up the ring light would change anything. I don't really feel like it's better. This is ridiculous. Let's try and do this with natural lighting. I don't know how it's gonna come out, but I hope it will be good. I haven't read that much in September. I have a new job, trying to find a new reading rhythm with this new job, so it's kind of hard for me, but I am doing it. Like, I'm doing it, definitely doing it. I've read 8 books this month and that was a pretty successful month. We do have a 1-star rating book in here. But other than this one, it has been quite a success. So I do have all of my books here with me and we're gonna go through them in no particular order. So let's just start with the first one that is here, and that is Gallant by VE Schwab. This book is about Olivia, who is an orphan. She's in this school, you know, and she sees things that are quite weird. But she sees things and it's kind of normal for her. But then at some point she receives a letter from an uncle that she has, and he invites her to go to Gallant, the house, and there a few things happen. So this is a horror book actually. So it is kind of like a middle grade, young adult, middle grade, I don't know. I feel like middle grade is a bit harsh because it actually freaked the hell out of me. Like, I was so scared reading this. So I don't feel like this is middle grade, but the girl, she's like pretty young. I think she's 13 or something, but the story really is frightening. So if you want a little spooky reading for October, I would definitely recommend this book. I give it 4 stars. It is a really easy reading. It's very fast and it's so amazing. As I've said, it is a mix between Crimson Peak and The Hunting of Eel Hours, The Hunting of Babel. So if you've liked these TV shows or movie, you should definitely read Gallant. Ooh, next book is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this is the 3rd and final book of the Inheritance Games series. So the Inheritance Games series follows Avery, who received an inheritance from a guy that she does not know of, and to actually get this inheritance she needs to live in the house, like the manor, with every single person from this family for a year. As you would expect, she received like this huge inheritance and the family does not, and so there are a lot of tensions between the characters, and it is just full of riddles and puzzles and all, and this is really such a good reading. However, this final book is not my favorite of the series. I give it 4 stars. I think I gave it 4 stars out of generosity. I think I would have given it more, like 3 stars. There were a few things in here that I did not like and I still don't really understand. I was kind of disappointed, but it's still like a good ending. And I still definitely recommend this series. It is so good and really a good atmospheric autumnal reading, so you should definitely read that. I'm gonna go with the ring light. I think it will be better like that. You tell me. Let's jump into the next book, that is On These Wicked Shores by Katherine, Quinn. So this is the 2nd book of the Byzantine Trilogy. So the first book was The Girl Who Belonged to the Sea. If you watched my vlog a year ago, I was reading the arc of The Girl Who Belonged to the Sea, and the author really kindly sent me this arc. Well, this is not the arc, this is like the book, but she sent me the arc of this book back in the day and I just read it this month. I can never recommend you these books enough. Like, they are so good and they deserve a lot more love. You really have to read this. It is amazing. It is about Margaret, and she has kind of like a pulling towards the sea, you know. There is something with the sea, and one day she's kidnapped by pirates, and there was this really beautiful dashing guy. His name is Bash, and obviously there is a little enemies to lovers in here, and there are a lot of old things involved in this series that is so good. And the second book did not disappoint. It is so good, and I'm so excited for the third book because the foreshadowing in here for the third book is insane. I'm just so excited. I love the characters so much. Give this book 4 stars. It was so good, and I just love this series so much, and you should definitely read it, especially if you've loved From Blood and Ash and Cool Thorns and Roses a bit. Yeah, I think it's definitely like in the vibe. Yeah, just so good, so good. And let's go on the next book. Ooh, that is probably my favorite book of the month, and that is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. So if you watched my vlogs, you know I gave this book 5 stars. It has become a favorite. It is dark academia. It is talking about this group of friends back at uni, and they were like really close, 7 friends, and they spent like the entire years at uni together. But the final year, there's one friend from this group that dies and who is murdered, and obviously they think it's one of them. And 10 years later they have this like uni reunion, like 10 years anniversary, and they all go to the uni and they all try to solve the murder. So it is so good. A little thriller, dark academia, morally grey characters. Like, it was so morally grey. I loved it. Like, it is so perfect, guys. I don't have the words for it. 5 stars. That's just, it says everything, you know. It is perfect. It is a really quick reading. I think it is 300 pages long. It is so good, and yeah, definitely one of my favorites from now on. The next book, that is Defend the Dawn by Bridget Kemmerer. So this is the second book from the Defy the Night series. So first book was Defy the Night. Really loved it. I received it in my furlough, I think, and I read it and I gave it 5 stars. It was so perfect. I loved it so much. And here is the second book. That did not disappoint. I give it 4 stars. It was so good. Loved it. Really excited for the third book. So this book is about Tessa, and she is living in this kingdom where a sickness kills a lot. The cure for the sickness is actually really hard to get, and it's really expensive. So she steals it and she tries to heal a lot of poor people, and she's helped with one of her friends, but there is something that happens and she ends up in the castle with Prince Gorig and King Harrison, who are her enemies. She absolutely despises them, and yeah, she's stuck with them now. This is so good. There is an enemies to lovers, well, friends to enemies to lovers kind of relationship, and it's just so good. And yeah, this second book was really nice as well, really different. There was something that kind of pissed me off a bit. It was still really good, and really excited for the third book, which will be the final book, I think. Really good. Next book I read, I'm gonna talk about the little EPUB that I've read this month, and that is Priest by Sierre Simone. I think you say it like that. So this book I read because I saw it at the bookstore and I kept seeing it online, and I was like really disgusted by the idea of the book, but I was still really appealed by it. Like, I wanted to know, you know. So this is a story of a priest who meets this girl, and he kind of is obsessed with her, and they do have a sexual relation on the altar of the church, and now he is really torn between religion and this girl. And yeah, so this is pretty much what it's about. It's a dark romance. I would say that if you're a religious person, do not read that. It is really, really, really blasphemous to the point where even I was really disturbed by it. I gave this book 1 star. That is the fail of this month. It's not a surprise. I knew I wasn't going to love it that much, but damn it, that was something. Like, really, it is really smutty, really disturbing. It was really awkward, honestly. I was so disgusted reading this book. It kind of made me laugh though, like it was still a funny reading, and I still feel like I still recommend it. I'm like, you should definitely read it. It's an experience. It's something, you know, that you should live. Really badly written, and the plot is really bad, honestly. Like, yeah, 1 star, you know. Let's go back to the last 2 readings of the month. So here is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. So that is the 2nd book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So Once Upon a Broken Heart series follows Jax, who's a character from Babel, and I can't really say a lot if I don't want to spoil Babel for you if you haven't read it, but yeah, he's one of my favorite characters of all time. He's my favorite character in the Babel series, and so obviously he has his own series that makes me really happy. And I read the arc of Once Upon a Broken Heart last year. I was so lucky to receive it. I was so happy, honestly, and it was so good to give it 5 stars. And this year I had the privilege to live in Paris and have this book 2 weeks before it came out. Don't ask me why, it happened, and honestly it did not disappoint. Once again, it is so good. Stephanie Garber's writing is magical and is so atmospheric in a way that you're really into the story, and it feels like you are part of the story and friends with the characters and all. I don't know how to explain that, but it's so magical. Like, the only word that comes to my mind is magical. The fantasy genre obviously always feels very magical with Stephanie Garber. She has a little something to it, you know. And this book was definitely in the same vibe as the first. I loved it so much. Jax is the best one ever, and I love Evangeline as well. Like, she's so cute and she's such a nice girl. It's really rare in the book, you know. She's so pure and she's so amazing, and I just love her so much. And this story was so good and I really loved it. Obviously I gave it 5 stars. I feel like every single book in this series is going to be a 5 stars. It's just, it's perfect. And then last but definitely not least, I read Babble by RF Kuang. So this book is Dark Academia, a really fat Dark Academia book, and it is really heavy reading, let me tell you, like really heavy. It follows Robin, who is from China, and he is actually taken, like not really with force, but he's taken by Professor Lovell, who educates him in the English way when they come back in London, and he introduces him to the world of Babel. That is a university, translation university, and he is introduced to the Silver Ball world. It's like there is a really complex magic system in here, and it really talks about colonization and translation a lot. They're all like chapters that are just classes of translation, just for you to be aware, and then there are really political chapters. I struggled reading this book, honestly. Like, I really struggled. I think it really is way too long, and it's like it's not even decent anymore, you know. Like, the length of this book is so insane, and it really is painful, honestly. Like, I'm just trying to be honest. I give this book 4 stars. I think as for the Final Gambit, I was feeling a bit generous. I think it would have been like 3.5 stars, something like that. I really loved it, but I feel like it was really way too long, and honestly it almost put me into a reading slump at some point. But the last 30 pages, I would say, broke me. I cried in the metro. I was sobbing, and the last few pages I was sobbing, but as you can see I still annotated it the shit out of it. Like really, it's a lot, and this is why I feel like I give it 4 stars, because even though it was really painfully long, it was useful. But just be aware it is really long. So here are all the books that I've read this month. So as I said, my favorite probably and most definitely is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and maybe, oh that's so hard. These were my favorites. Really hard for me to choose one. I think if I have to choose one, it would be this one. But yeah, so I hope that you liked this little video. Very sorry for lighting once again. That was really, like, September was a really good reading month, apart from Priest that I gave 1 star. All the other books, they were like 4 stars or 5 stars, so that's really good. I'm really excited for October. Of course I will soon release my little October TBR and Vampathon TBR, because I'm of course going to do the Vampathon that is hosted by Jodie and her friends. I will leave her channel down below so you can check out her Vampathon video. But yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really excited for October. It's finally here. It's my birthday month. It's Halloween's month. I'm happy. I'm really happy now, guys. So yeah. Hope that you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. And I will see you guys very soon in another video. And until then, take care. Bye, lovelies.